And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For those who are tuning in on the simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram, we're glad you all could join us. We are broadcasting live from the Werner House here in Columbus, Ohio. We're here for Colette Harrell's Literary Brunch. We're here with one of the authors we're going to be able to meet with a little bit later, but she's here today on Amazon to talk about her book, Graciously Speaking. We're talking about Ciara Ijames. We're going to talk to Ciara not only about her love of storytelling and words, but also what it's been like for her to share with all of you. And then, of course, we're going to remind you can get your own copy of the book. For those who are joining us on the Amazon side, we do have it highlighted in our carousel, so you guys can be able to see it there. So make sure you guys get your copy. For those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on YouTube, you will find the link that will bring you guys over to Amazon. So make sure you guys take advantage of that opportunity. For those joining us on X, we'll put it in the comment section. Those joining us on Insta, we'll be able to put it also in our stories. But Ciara, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So Ciara, we're going to get into Graciously Speaking for a second, but I want to talk about this experience for you. What has it been like for you to share your love of words with the rest of the world?
It's been amazing. I always loved words. I love writing. Writing was easy to me when I was growing up. And so I loved to write papers. Whenever we had to do journal prompts, I loved it. And I just grown to love it, put it in the books. And when I found out I could do that, it literally changed my life. And so I've been publishing ever since. And so it's amazing because I feel like I get to have an impact with someone without ever meeting them.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the biggest takeaway for me, that maybe my book helped someone, or maybe it encouraged someone through the stories or through my writings. And so that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. I had a chance to get Ciara's book before we met here in person, so I appreciate that. One thing I want to say is, what you just mentioned is really interesting because connection, I think, is a big part of this.
Yes.
What has that been like for you to write something that may be personal and to know that other people are connecting with it?
So I think it's, for me, that's why I do it, because I know that people are going to connect. Because sometimes when we are going through things or when we have troubles, even as teens, children, and when we grow up to adults, we think that no one else is going through what we're going through.
Yeah.
So to know that someone else went through it and now they could reach back and help me, so for me to be able to reach back and help someone, I think that's once again, the biggest thing, that if I never meet them, that maybe one day they lay down and say, you know what, that book really helped me today.
Yeah. Have you always trusted your own voice, Ciara? I think for a lot of people out there who may believe they have a gift, they haven't always trusted their ability to share that because they didn't know if people would connect. Have you always believed that if you did share, that people would find it?
So that's a great question. I did not always believe. Even though words were easy to me growing up and I loved doing it, I remember being in high school and in English class, you have to do poetry. So this was right after we did Shakespeare, and I wrote this poem, and the student teacher in the classroom practically, they were asking me to answer or to enter into this poetry contest. But because I didn't believe in myself, I said no, and it wasn't until years later that someone said, Ciara, this is your gift.
Wow.
And then after that, that's when I went forth in publishing, and then I've won awards, book awards, poetry awards. So there was a point in time that I did not believe, but it took people who, how you have like your support group, your tribe.
Yes.
You definitely need your tribe. You need people to encourage you in the gift, and understanding that you can reach people. And even if it's one person, it's worth it all. Yeah. So I did struggle with that early on. I still have people that I bounce ideas off of, or, that I act as sounding boards for me, but definitely it's not as it used to be, but that was a struggle at one point in time.
Yeah. This, the copy that people will sing here on Amazon, as it says there, this is the 10-year anniversary edition of Graciously Speaking. Talk to us about this past decade, because I think for a lot of people out there who have been doing what they do for a while, it's always exciting to look back at where they come from and where they are today. What has that been like for you?
It has been amazing. I have to say. So I first published Graciously Speaking back in 2013. That's when I was like, I'm going to be a writer. I'm going to publish these books. And so I did everything by myself. I created my own cover through Create Space. So for those who know the OGs, through Create Space, and I put all of these poems together and I published my first book. And so since then, since 2013, the writing journey has been amazing. I've gone on to win 2 awards. I've won poetry awards. I've published multiple books, and I just love it that I can look back and see the catalog or see my work, that I didn't stop, that I didn't give up. And I wonder where would I be if I had not took that step, if I did not believe in myself, And so I'm grateful. I'm excited about the 10-year anniversary edition. I definitely feel like it speaks to the growth that I've done as a person and as a writer. And so that's my journey. And I mean, and even in these books, workshops have come out of these books. I've been able to take some of my books into juvenile detention centers and schools, churches, everything. So it's, more than I could even ask for.
Yeah. One of I'm sure you have your favorites too, but one of my favorite poems in the book, when I started reading it after I got it, was Keep Praying. So I want to reference that because it made me think about this topic in a little different way.
Okay.
Because I think for a lot of times we talk a lot about not giving up on yourself and not giving up and keep going and praying it'll happen. To use biblical examples of that as a reminder, I'm curious, what has that done for you to know that it's not just, an inspirational mantra, it's actually scriptural that we should keep praying and keep persevering?
So if we're talking about the Bible, we're talking about God's law, right? And so God's law can't be broken. So that means that whatever he says is going to happen. But we just have to believe. We have to believe no matter if we see it, if we feel it. And that's where the perseverance comes in, and that I have to keep praying. I have to keep believing that it's going to work out, that what I'm asking and what I'm seeking for will happen. Why? Because it's what God said. And so a lot of times we go through life and, just changes, and we want to give up after, I prayed about it and it's not happening, but you got to keep praying. Sometimes you have to keep asking, you got to keep seeking, you have to keep knocking on the door, and eventually it will open.
I think that's such a great point and such a great reminder. On IG, hello to you, Herschel. Good to be able to see you. Sugar Ray, good to be able to see you over there in New York. Glad you could join us. Ink by Dio, good to be able to see you as well. For those who are just tuning in, and I see you guys over there on Amazon as well, welcome. You all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents here in Columbus, Ohio. We're here at the Werner House in Columbus. We're here for Colette Harrell's literary brunch that's coming up. One of the authors, though, that's here is Ciara Ijames. You see her here. We're talking about her book, Graciously Speaking. This is the 10-year anniversary. You guys can get right here on Amazon for $14.99. Again, we have it highlighted for you guys there in the carousel. We're also going to let you guys know how to stay connected with Ciara as well. Another powerful poem in the book, Ciara, kind of talks about legacy, those who may be taken too soon, and kind of thinking about their impact. I'm curious about, for you as a storyteller and as a poet, what has it been like for you to think about your own impact and legacy?
It's been amazing. Once again, when I think about Langston Hughes, Maya Angelou, they are still impacting today. They're not here, but how? Through their words, videos, through their books. And so to think that I have the opportunity to leave that same impact is amazing. Because we have great opportunities and tools as writers today that you could publish self-publish independently, you're able to get your books out and, greater reaches. So as an author, I get royalties and statements of where my books are being published. And to see that people in the UK are buying my books, Africa, Japan, that is the impact that I get to leave. Like I said, whether it's one person or many people, I think for me, the fact that I leave it in the earth and that whoever stumbles upon it, if it helps them and if it's used, then that's the greatest impact for me.
And not only did you publish a 10-year anniversary, but you did what some of our favorite artists do as well, Ciara. You added some new pieces as well. How did you decide on what you wanted to add to this collection?
Oh, that's a great question. So, of course, since the first time I published, I've been writing more. And so for poems that I can't find that would fit into a particular collection that I have coming up, they just sat there. And so I was like, I really have to do something with this. And these are things that I've written over the years, but they were good. I was like, wait a minute, this is good. Like somebody has to read this, And so I just thought to myself, I was like, okay, well, I could add it to the new edition. So a lot of them didn't make it, but there were some that I felt that had the impact, that provided the variety and kind of stuck with the theme of the book. And so that's how I made those choices to add the new pieces to the book.
Love that. You mentioned the different ways to publish these days. I've taken advantage of it. A lot of people have. What has it been like for you to have the freedom and not to have a gatekeeper there, letting you know that your words can't be there? What has it been like for you to literally take control of your career and your journey and to share that with us?
Empowering. I don't have to wait on anyone. I mean, like I said, I have people that I bounce ideas off of, hey, what do you think about this cover? People that I know that are experienced, that have success. And so I do reach out to them, and they're my quote unquote publishing team. They don't know it yet, but but yeah, so I mean, it feels good. Like I set my own deadlines, I set my own marketing team and how I want to market. I create my own content. And I think that's, I mean, like I said, it's just empowering to know that I could do it. And it helps the creative in me as well. That, okay, yes, I'm writing books, but I get to be creative in other ways. So that's another thing that I kind of get to do that I have fun with.
Yeah, that's great. Let's widen out the conversation a little bit, Ciara, and talk to those out there who may be aspiring poets or authors. Because part of this weekend is about being able to pour into others, to learn from others, and to network. Talk to us about the importance of social media, because that is one of the ways that we kind of all are connecting. How has that played a role in your writing career?
It blows my mind. I mean, if you are not putting your work out there and putting yourself out there, who is going to find you? And once again, with social media, this is global. You never know who's watching. You never know who may want to call you in for an event or call you in for an activity or just to have your book. And so there was one time I think I shared a video, and then next thing I knew, somebody was publishing a $500 order for my girls' books for their summer program. So, I mean, you just never know. But the social media platform and space is where people are digesting entertainment and content. And that's where you want to be. I mean, if we see that the big companies are doing it, then we definitely have to do it, especially as, I'm not going to say smaller people, but people who may not have the dollars and the teams behind us, but it's possible. If we look at some of the people who social media has made famous or made more popular, where did they start at? On social media. So it's definitely important to get a team, not a team, but just get a plan, get a strategy going, and just to post as much as you can. And then there are so many apps and websites that you could take advantage of to help with that. As far as scheduling posts, shorts, things like that. You just have to know how to work it, get in it. We have Canva, easy editing software. So, I mean, we really have no excuse. You could even outsource things through Fiverr if you're like, well, I can't do it. Well, you could, save up a couple coins and pay someone to get you some cover art or thumbnail pictures and things like that. But social media is very important in today's age.
Such a great point. Such a great reminder for all of us. Last thing I want to ask you about, Ciara, and that is about moving forward. I think, for so many people, there's a lot going on in the world right now. How much does that impact what you write about and what you share?
Oh, man. If I'm writing to readers, I have to know who my audience is. And I have to know that what is happening in the world impacts my audience. And so I can't write over their head that they don't get the message that I'm giving. So sometimes I may have to adjust things, like even if I'm writing for children, I have to know that children are into streaming. I have to know that children are into TikTok and things like that. So we have to be mindful of those things if we want to be impactful. If you want to just write, and there are some people that may still catch it, but I think for me to maximize the greatest impact, I have to be aware of what's going on, because what's going on is impacting people and it's having an effect on people.
Yeah.
And as a writer, I can't be nonchalant to that or dismissive about it, you know? Mm-hmm. But as you mentioned earlier, if those same things are impacting me and I'm feeling some type of way and I write it, maybe someone out there can connect with it as well.
Such a great point. What advice would you give, Ciara, to aspiring poets and writers in particular who may be on the fence? Maybe they've been writing, in secret for years, or thought about writing a book.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to them?
So I would say go for it. You never know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. You never know who you're going to be. That's like the biggest slogans that I have. You never know what you can become. When someone told me that poetry and writing was my gift, I never knew that this could be it. Mm. And even more, because I plan on still writing more. I plan on still doing this thing, And so you just never know the possibilities, the connections that you can make, the circles you can get into, and the impact. I think the biggest thing is the impact. We've all been given something. Yeah. We've all gone through something. You've written it down. Now put it out and help somebody else to go through, Mm-hmm. They may never meet you, but I'm not going to say who cares, but listen, you help somebody get through their toughest day. And I think that's what it's about. That's a part of serving others, that we help them and we, come down to where they are so they can get to their next point and move forward in their lives as well. So I'm saying to all the poets and the authors writing in secret, if you feel like you want to write a book, it is so easy now. We have so many groups. We have so many Facebook pages. We have, the tools and resources are endless. You can do it. And I would say, please do it so we could be talking about it. And you never know, be on here with Cyrus Webb.
Well, I appreciate that. Again, everyone, Ciara Ijames has been our guest. The book is Graciously Speaking, the 10-year anniversary edition. You all can get it right here on Amazon for $14.99 for our Amazon audience. For those tuning on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, as I mentioned, the link is with this broadcast. Make sure you get your copy of the book. Those joining us on X, I will put it in the comment section when we wrap up here. Those joining us on Insta, we'll make sure that we share it in our stories. So, Ciara, how can our audience stay connected with you?
All right. So I'm on all social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, and it is at Ciara Ijames. So at CIARA IJAMES. And I'm definitely on Amazon. All of my books are there as well, if you care to take a look.
All right, there you go. Ciara, congratulations to you. And thank you again for the time. Really
appreciate
it.
Cyrus.
All right.
Good
and we
luck,
thank
everybody.
you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents here at the Warner House in Columbus, Ohio. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.